We're now going to move on to three separate descriptions of transactions that we have sort of changed the name on in modern culture, but the laws that apply to these new names come back and relate back to the well-established law. We're going to talk about bills of sale, we're going to talk about bills of lading, and we're going to talk about a special type of a bill of lading. So first of all, the idea of a bill of sale. If you purchased a computer from Best Buy, you're going to get a written document that says you bought this computer and these accessories. You're probably going to call that a receipt, but the law would call it a bill of sale. Now, see if the receipt doesn't fit the same definition. A written statement that the seller is passing ownership to the buyer. The description of the goods should be as complete as possible. So we would call this in modern society a receipt. But if you were trying to find the law as it relates to receipts, you'd probably be frustrated, because what the law would call this is a bill of sale. So if you were to do a search of bill of sale, you would get a lot of information about how the law has in the past treated bills of sale. Now, the next terminology is what we call a bill of lading. And receipt here is immediately a receipt for goods to be shipped. So we're talking about a receipt. And you might think of this in terms of a receipt, but the law would call this a bill of lading. See how this compares to what your idea of a receipt might be. Acknowledges that such goods have been received, indicates agreement that the goods will be transported to the destination specified. So this is a receipt. It's also a bill of lading. It is prepared by what we call a common carrier. Now, a common carrier means someone who would transport this merchandise or item for you, for any individual. If you saw a truck that said Walmart or Sam's Club on the side of it, it's a truck, it transports lots of merchandise, but it wouldn't be what we would call a common carrier, because it's not somebody that you can hire. It's not for hire. Often you'll see a sign that says not for hire. So when we talk about a common carrier, we're talking about a trucking firm, a railroad, or an ocean liner that would transport goods from one point to another. So a bill of lading would be a receipt that you've given to a common carrier saying, here is this automobile. It's I just bought this new Volvo here in Sweden, and I want to transport this back to the United States. So you would get a receipt that acknowledges that the ocean liner has taken possession of your car and is going to transport it to the dock in New York somewhere. An airbill is another kind of receipt. It's prepared for goods that are shipped by air. Now, the key here is this document is signed by the common carrier upon the acceptance of the goods. So you have some evidence that you've let go of this valuable item to be transported, and you have some proof that, in fact, you still have some rights to it. And those rights are that the common carrier has accepted it. If it gets lost in transport, the common carrier is going to be responsible for replacing it or finding it. Now, many times, common carriers have evolved to the point where they say, well, we only want to be responsible for X amount of dollars based upon our negligence in losing this item once you've given it to us. So they may try to sell additional insurance that would protect you, because they don't want to have to pay for that loss.